Welcome to this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Robertson, and today we try out the all-new 2013 Dodge Ram 1500. Now this is a Dodge Ram 1500 Longhorn Special Edition. Now you'll notice that right off the bat when you look at the side here, and that's one of the first things a lot of people were drawn to. They saw that, and most people know exactly what this vehicle means when it says Longhorn. Now if you're familiar with the F-150, of course, that's the King Ranch Edition. And what that basically means is upgraded vehicle. A lot of interior features which we'll go to in a minute, but overall this is a go-to truck. Now by the size, this is just under 20 feet long and has a stretched 140-inch wheelbase. Now this is a short box edition, so this is just going to be under 6 feet long, while the long box is going to be over 6 feet. Now overall dimensions width-wise, again over 6 feet tall. Now what you'll notice on this vehicle, and compared to older Dodge Ram trucks, is to me the hood is not as pronounced as it used to be. It used to be kind of more of a dome, kind of curved lines on the front, and they've kind of refined that just a hair. I personally think it has a slight hint at F-150 qualities and kind of stylings, but again, you're not going to blend in at the Ford dealership here. This is still straight Dodge Ram pickup. Now one of the first things I noticed on this vehicle when I received it was the storage boxes. Now for a city slicker like me, probably more adapt to calling it a cooler. Now there's one on both sides, and what I like about it, it has traditional push button open like that. And when you get the first look at it, you think it's a typical kind of locking system, but it's not. What I'm referring to is if you lock this vehicle, you'll hear the cab lock first, and then you'll actually hear the toolboxes lock second. Now that's a new thing from 2012. I talked to an owner and he said these used to be a key lock system. So having it all powered is excellent and allows you not to have to worry about, did I lock these boxes? Now this came with a short box, which basically measures in under 6 feet. Now, of course, if you want the long box option, that's going to give you over 6 feet. Now what was great about this is we went to the local hardware store and actually got some pavers and set them back here. Now you got a couple of interesting things. You got these versatile tie downs that you basically move to where you need. And you've also got this divider here. And what that allows you to do is kind of separate your cargo. And in our case, for our block, we were actually able to move it up against the block so they wouldn't shift and tumble over. Now one interesting feature, this is how it works. You simply twist this here, open this up, and then you actually move it to the groove that you need. Then you basically wedge it inside and lock it so it doesn't go away. Another interesting feature right here in the middle, you'll notice a key lock. That is so this, of course, cannot be stolen. Now talking about the bed liner here, back in the day they used to be kind of laid in, kind of one assembled piece that plopped in here, and over time they become loose and flimsy and things like that. Now in these newer vehicles, this is a sprayed in textured bed liner, means it's more durable, kind of skid resistant. Now as for the tailgate, you'll notice there's about 3 feet of lift from the ground to here. It's kind of a substantial amount if you're actually getting heavy items up here. But again, decent cargo space, and it closes up real nice and solid built. Now last but not least back here is safety, and what we're talking about is of course the backup sensors and the backup camera. Now when trailering or picking up any cargo, of course that makes life easier, as this vehicle is kind of difficult to see over this back cargo area. So having the camera there easily gets you to the trailer and gets you to the pile of stuff, whatever you need to put back here. Now of course this is a 5.7 liter V8 Hemi, so plenty of tow power. And what's great, of course, you got the typical hookups here. Now this all new Dodge Ram 2013 has a new front end. Now overall the width of the grille is the same, it actually is a little bit taller. You'll still see the typical crosshair Dodge Ram styling here, of course, with the Ram right in the center. Now what I love is just this rugged, huge hook assemblies up front and the lower chrome fascia down here. Again, you've got fog lights tucked in low, actually kind of look like a mirror almost, with new headlight assemblies here as well. Again, a new styling for 2013, and doesn't really draw too much on the past, but has some of the styling cues with an updated appeal. Now one thing you'll notice with these newer trucks is that even though it has a key here, you actually have nowhere to put it inside the vehicle. It actually is the smart key that we're used to and allows you to walk up to the vehicle, press the corresponding button, and the vehicle unlocks and opens right up. Now again, what's great about that is it's simple. It takes the clutter out of your hands when you're carrying things, especially lumber and things like that in this vehicle. You want to be able to access it quite quickly, especially in the rain and things like that. So again, this smart key is the go-to choice on a lot of these vehicles. And again, I can't mention that the step rail on a vehicle like this with its height off the ground is a help, especially for my wife who loved the handlebar and able to grab up and get in this vehicle. Now once you climb inside the Dodge Ram Longhorn Edition, you're going to notice the styling cues right off the bat. Of course, the first thing you notice is kind of this saddle-like leather everywhere you look. The special stitching on the seats, the Longhorn badging everywhere. And what that does is it takes it to a whole nother level. Now for this city slicker, of course, this kind of makes me feel like a cowboy. For a real cowboy, it fits right in with their character. So I love that styling, and it's everywhere you look. Now of course, with this type of upgrade comes a little bit of upgrade on price. This vehicle right from the start is the gear shifter, and what you'll notice is it's nowhere to be found. It's not here on the steering column. It's not here where it typically be in the middle. Where it actually is right here. It is simply a dial-in knob, and what you basically do is you get in the vehicle, push your foot on the brake, and either pick the letter you want: park, reverse, neutral, and drive. Now what's great is, of course, that minimizes clutter, but it does mess with your brain, because if you're used to the gear column shifter here, you literally will do this and then realize there's nothing there and have to find this. So it does take some getting used to, but it's, you know, innovative, and it's fresh, and it's new. Now other things you'll notice in this vehicle that are not standard on most is this front area. And what I'm looking at is the over 8-inch screen here that houses everything from climate, navigation, your iPhone connection. Everything you need is right here at a touch screen. Now just below is your typical kind of knobs for climate controls, where you have dual zones, of course, for heating and cool. And you've got three simple knobs, one for volume, airspeed, and tuning. So again, nice, simplified, but the best thing I love is this huge screen. It makes you feel technologically advanced. Now again, for a city slicker like me, this is what I expect. Maybe for the cowboy on the farm, this is just an added appeal. Other things, of course, you got all the controls you need on your steering wheel here. You got heated steering. Now on the dash, what you'll notice is right front center is the LCD screen. Now it's going to be customizable, where you can put up what you want in front of you. Now what we typically put in front of us was the constant reassurance of fuel economy, because on these vehicles they tend to suck gas, and I kind of wanted to get a by the minute, by the second even, readout of what the gas consumption was, and I did that. Now on average on this 5.7 liter V8, I noticed anywhere between 12 to even 25 miles per gallon, depending on if I let off the gas or I was hammering it. Sometimes we might even get 5. So that little indicator will actually tell you how your fuel economy is going. Other than that, you can actually put your navigation up there, whole bunch of things right there in the center. Now of course you got the traditional gauges to the left and right, your speed, your tach, and all your other temperature gauges. Now one of the most important parts I always look at is legroom, and what you're going to find on this crew cab model is plentiful. Up front you've got around 41 inches, and in the back you only drop about an inch, around 40 inches. So what that means is around the whole entire interior here, you got plenty of legroom. Put the crew in here, go to the job site, you've got excellent space. Now for me, of course, I'm not hitting the job site, not hitting the farm. So putting the family in here, putting the kids in the back, plenty of legroom, and that's what I love about these crew cab models. Now, we talk about storage in the back of the vehicle, but there's also storage inside. And what you'll notice, of course, on the dash, you've got actually dual glove compartments, one up top, one down low, and they offer modest storage, mainly for that paperwork type thing. Now, right here in the middle, of course, you've got a huge center console. The top one is kind of for electronics. It's got some USB ports here, even a SD card insert for pictures to be displayed and things like that. But if you go down a little bit deeper, you got a huge cavern here. This is where you can put a whole bunch of things, and actually where you'll find your CD player as well. Now going a little bit deeper into cargo, what's interesting, I actually missed this and a friend pointed it out. There's actually cargo down here. Now what you do is you lift up these mats, and of course there's a little hatch, and it's actually kind of a deep little console. Now what's great is, let's say you're on a long trip, put a little ice in there, and you can ice down some drinks and things like that, because basically the bucket comes right out, dump the water, and put it back in. Now I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier about the saddlebags in the back, and you got those here. Now on typical crew cabs, you're going to have some type of flip and fold mechanism here. On this one, you actually lift the seat cushion. There's actually a light that illuminates everything. And right below, of course, is a little cargo hatch. Again, more storage, more tools, more things like that. Now on this side, you really don't have that. There's actually a subwoofer down there. So it's pretty much you have a little bit of storage here. And again, you have another small one of those coolers like you did on that side right here as well. Now, one thing we talked about earlier, of course, was the leg room. You got plenty back here. One little complaint department I had from my backseat passengers was actually comfort, referring to the airflow. There actually is no rear air controls back here. You do have heated seats, but you don't have, you know, a separate ventilation system. So what we had to do, of course, is direct the middle vents, and actually we were fairly cool up front, and they were a little bit warmer back here. So I'm not sure how you can control the comfort a little bit easier. There are rear vents down low, but again, the backseat passengers cannot actually independently control that. Now, the biggest thing you want to know about when you're driving a kind of a massive vehicle like this is the horsepower. And the first thing you need to know is, can we actually get to see it? And you can with this nice hydraulic lift hood. Now, once under here, of course, you'll notice the base model engine for the Ram 1500 is a 3.6 liter 24 valve V6 engine. Now, what that means is you're going to be around about 300 horses and about 269 foot-pounds of torque. Now, of course, the torque is a little anemic, but you're going to have better fuel economy when you go with the engine like that. Now, the mid-size engine on this vehicle is the 4.7 liter 16 valve V8. Now, it's going to up a little bit more horsepower, but it's going to take torque to around about 330 foot-pounds. Now, again, that means a little bit better numbers off the line, better towing power, but a little bit less fuel economy. Now, for the big massive one like we're driving here, the 5.7 liter 16 valve V8 engine, of course, that delivers all the power you possibly could need, nearly about 400 horses and just over 400 foot-pounds of torque. Now, of course, what that means is you're able to go to the farm, even a city slicker like me, and haul possibly everything you might need. Now, this does it for this edition of Road Warrior, and of course, I'm your host, Grant Robertson, and we tried out the Longhorn edition of the Ram 1500 Crew Cab. Now, again, what we like on this vehicle is there's plenty of leg room inside. It's got 40 inches in the back and 41 in the front. We also riding on 20-inch rims, 19 inches are standard. We got plenty of height on this vehicle. We got a nice step rail, and overall, this is a nice rugged vehicle with a kind of regal appeal on the inside. So again, we'd like to thank you for watching, and as always, keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.